Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Lisa Niser. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today on this lovely Sunday afternoon. I'm so grateful that you're joining me. Because we're going to talk about tax tips every entrepreneur should know. And before we got started, we had a little bit of a lengthy discussion on what people know, don't know. I know. I need to know a lot more about finances. I'm learning. And but we talked about, often people don't even know where to start. What's income? What's wealth? So let's just start there. First, share a little bit about your backstory, what brought you to where you are, because you are a tax and financial advisor, and then we'll go into those juicy questions.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk with you. So I am a tax and financial educator, which means I'm not a tax preparer. I'm really about helping people not just get their tax return done, but really learn about taxes and finances in general so that they can make good decisions. Because as you and I discussed, we're not taught about money and we interact with it every single day. And it's really scary and stressful. So here's the great news is you're never too old to learn. So if you are open to it, you can completely change not only your life, but life for generations to come. I mean, you can be that change to do it. You just got to put your mind to it. And there's people like me that are out there that are completely open and excited to help you. You just have to face your fears, I guess what it is.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about, and I can tell you about my business, sorry. So I run my own business. I've been on my own for 21 years. I was with big accounting firms, and then I started my own practice when I had kids because I wanted more flexibility. And I grew my business entirely through referrals. And the part of my business I like is the teaching side, right? Tax tax season. Nobody likes tax season. I mean, let's get real. Nobody likes tax season. But I build the trust with the clients, and then they want to learn. And it's been fun over 20 years watching people grow and develop. So it's been fun. And now I'm kind of adding on this educational arm where I either work with individuals or companies to teach them basic personal finance. Companies, it's a great way to do, like financial wellness programs to help, because people are distracted when they have money problems. So that's really where I am. And we were talking about income versus wealth. And this is something that people really don't understand. So income is a flow. So it comes in all the time, and wealth is a pool, right? So income, if you don't keep working, it stops, right? Like that's it. But wealth, if you put it in investments, you don't even have to touch it, and it's working for you, right? So the goal in life is to not work, because earned income is taxed more than anything else, especially if you're an entrepreneur, and to save money and invest it, because that's not only, it's taxed at like half of what your earned income is, but you can't spend it all. And so many people are so worried about earning more. But if you just spend it all and you have lifestyle creep, you're going to be working till you're dead. And it's like, I don't think that's most people's goals. I think they want to enjoy life. And I was telling you, it's like, I work with a lot of pretty high net worth clients, and I know that I earn significantly less than them. And I know that I have significantly more saved than them. So it's not about having lots of income. It's being mindful with what you have. And one of the ways to do that is to learn a little bit more about it, right? And you don't have, and I tell people, you don't have to be an expert, because you should hire someone to help you. I want you to be able to just go, hey, go to your accountant or go to me and go, I heard about this thing on like the news. Like, does that apply to me? Because that's it. Do you mean like you can ask questions and see if it makes sense? I hire people out for lots of things. You don't have to be the expert, but especially if you're running a business, you do need to have some understanding so that you can make a profit. I mean, the bottom line is you have to make a profit to stay in business.
Yeah. And Lisa, it's interesting. So many entrepreneurs I've talked to, they get started and most of them don't make it to year 5. One gal who did, now at year 11, she said one of the pivotal moments for her was the first 5 years, she would not release anything or delegate. It's like everything had to be her. I'm going to take care of it all. But really, she was working in the business, the business wasn't working for her. She was working for the business. You know what I mean? So she was almost like an employee of the business. And when she finally had this epiphany that I need to let go or I'm going to lose everything, it was the hardest moment. She started to bit by bit hire help and kind of trust them with the process that once you show them how to do it. Now, I mean, she has over 100 employees, 11 years in business. And so she's really an inspiration. But that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. They had this idea, I want to work for myself, but it's almost like the business has now become their employer.
Well, you can work for yourself. It doesn't have to be by yourself.
Yeah, but that's, I think, the mindset we get into that. Yeah. And it becomes, scary to trust and grow. So how do we get past that even?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of an anomaly, but one of the things we did was we saved my entire salary the year before I went off on my own.
Nice.
So that we knew that we could live on one salary, and we had a nice nest egg, because even the government knows it takes a little while to get a business going, and they'll let you write off a loss for 2 years against your other income. After that, they call it a hobby, because if you could really afford to lose money after that, it's not a business, because you'd stop and do something else, right? I mean, you do it. But for us, we did that. And so one of the things people can do is, sometimes it's not an option, but if it is an option, is to figure out what your mandatory expenses are, see where you can save. And if you have that little nest egg, it's a lot easier to do what you need to do to get the business going. But you're like, oh my God, I can't pay my bills, because a lot of people, sometimes they just kind of, they lost their job during the pandemic and they had to start and pay your bills. Like, that's pretty scary. But if you can set it aside, also, if you do an exercise like I do, which is a spending analysis, you see what are your wants versus your needs. Our stuff is wants. Very little is needs.
That's true. You need to eat, you need to clothe yourself, but so much, not a whole bunch. Like,
all right, but let's just be real. We could all probably go 2 years without buying another piece of clothing, and we wouldn't be thrilled, but we'd be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting, because there were a time when I started Savvy where I didn't buy clothes for 2 years. I couldn't really. But the only thing I really, really needed was socks and underwear, because they got too holy. But the rest were okay. No one really cares if you're wearing the same pants again. It's only yourself. It's like, I need one more shirt. I need one more pants, whatever. You only need so much to clothe yourself. We have more than a bunch.
And you don't have to get rid of your Starbucks. Like, for me, my non-negotiable is getting my hair cut and colored. Like, that's it. I have to have it look good because I feel good. I mean, I could go without lots of other stuff, but like, that's my non-negotiable. And that's it. And you don't have to cut out nobody says you have to live like that. But I guarantee there are things you are overspending on.
Yeah. No, I believe it. Yeah.
So, that $5 Starbucks is not going to do it. Although I make mine at home just fine for 50 cents a cup in my K-cup machine.
Yeah. I got a cappuccino machine. Oh God, the something espresso thingy, but it's quite yummy, actually. I'm surprised at what you can do at home these days that weren't an option back when my parents were and I was younger. But now let's get to tax tips, because the one thing that scares people, and that's coming in May here for me and other business owners, I don't know if it's the same for all business owners, but we're always like, taxes. I already, I'm struggling just to make the profit, to grow the business, and now we got to pay taxes. Is there anything entrepreneurs should be aware of when it comes to tax season, or how they could?
So here's the scoop. And I have a program for entrepreneurs called What Entrepreneurs Need to Know About Taxes. And it's really designed to give you an overall view of the top things you need to know, right? So you need to know. And it's not to make you a tax expert. It's to get you to ask good questions. And a lot of it is keeping good records along the way, because yes, you need to know what your P&L is for your tax return. But honestly, that is the least important part of it, because how can you make good decisions throughout the year if you don't have your information, right? So, and then, some of my clients still do it on an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, but I like it in a program, because then you can compare this year to last year, and you can say, oh, I spent all this money on Facebook ads. Did that turn over? Okay, maybe this year I want to not do it and put it into something else. Or I spent money on a business coach. Oh, look, my business increased by threefold. Oh, that was a good investment. And so that way it's not as stressful, because the struggle part is like gathering it all up. And it was like, oh my God, you should have it. Right.
Yeah.
So if you do it along the way, and that's why, like, I think an accountant and a bookkeeper are really good investments in your business. And then also learning what is and isn't tax deductible is really important, because a deduction isn't free. It still costs you money. People are like, oh, it's tax deductible. It's a write-off. I'm like, it still costs you money. You just save your tax rate times it.
Yeah.
So maybe at the most it's 50%, but you're still spending 50%.
Yeah.
So if you don't need it, don't buy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And people like, oh, but a lot of things, even people don't know what they are. I mean, my favorite is Schitt's Creek. That's a write-off. That's a write-off. That's a write-off.
Yeah.
But there are things like they took away entertainment costs. So it used to be meals and entertainment. Entertainment's not deductible anymore.
Aw.
I know. So yes, you should still take potential clients out, but you have to be mindful of like, maybe you don't take them out to the fanciest restaurant. You take them out to just a lovely restaurant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other big one that people really get confused about is the value of your time is not deductible.
Oh, wow.
And people say that. So for example, I get this all the time. People like, oh, well, you should donate tax return prep services to our auction. It's a tax deduction, whatever. And I'm like, it's not, because it's just my time, right? Now, there is value to that. One, you're supporting a charitable organization. Two, you're probably getting a new client that's probably going to come back.
Yeah.
They might refer other people. I mean, there's all that. But that actual donation is worth zero. Like there's nothing deductible because your time is not. So if you're an artist and you paint a painting and you donate it, you cannot write off the fair market value of that painting that you would sell it for. All you can write off is the supplies.
Yeah.
And that's a very hard one for people. But like I said, again, there is value to donating and doing pro bono work because you're building your brand and you're getting your name out there.
Exactly.
Just being mindful of that, right? I did that a lot when I was starting out. Plus, I'm charitable. So it's an easy way for me to do it with not, I mean, I give my time anyway. So, but that's a big one that people are like, oh, but I care about.
No, sorry. But here's something I learned recently that just totally boggled my mind is I always saw getting your taxes back if you had anything like, personal taxes. Oh, look, I'm getting taxes back. Well, a tax person told me, well, that's your money. You just put too much into it. How many deductions are you taking? Or, I usually would do zero because I figured I just don't want to owe anything. He said, well, you can make that one at least, or, you and your husband, because basically you're just having them hold your money and then just giving it back to you at the end of the year. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. And the same thing with the Biden thing they gave to people during the pandemic. That was your money. I was like, really?
No, the stimulus payments weren't. That was free money.
Oh, was that free money? That wasn't taxes that they taxed us?
The advanced child tax credit payments were. But that stimulus payment was free money.
That was free. Okay.
That was free. But people are like, oh, you're so good. You got me a big, refund. I'm like, I can make your refund be whatever you want. I could just change your withholding. Right.
Oh, okay.
I mean, to me, $100 plus or minus is the goal. Right. And so what I try and teach people is let's do a projection, get your withholding where you need it to be, or pay in estimates to be there. And then so if you're a W-2 employee or whatever, let's just funnel your net pay into 2 accounts. So like if you want that net windfall at the end of the year, just stick it in this account that you don't look at but once a year. Do you know what I mean? And
then maybe you get a bit of interest too. Yeah.
Right. And if you have an emergency, you have money.
Boom.
It's not sitting there. You can only get it once a year from the government.
Yeah. And hope you don't have an emergency in between there.
Right? And a high yield savings account right now is paying 4.5%. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Why is it so high right now? It's kind of nutters.
Well, it's kind of nice because it was really bad for a while. So.
I know. No, I'm liking it. Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you do not pay in enough, the government is charging you 7%.
No, that's not nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so it's really working with people to understand how that, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you have to pay estimated payments.
Yeah.
That is very confusing for people. And I think it's also psychologically really challenging because when you're a W-2 employee, you get the net and you're like, okay, on the whole, I can spend whatever this is. I should be saving it, but like, this is mine. As an entrepreneur, you get the gross amount, you have to pay the expenses and you see all those taxes and Social Security going out. That is not fun. I mean, people are like, right. And that's the other big difference between revenue and profit. So when people say, oh, I made $100,000 this year. Well, they might have taken in $100,000, but after expenses, maybe they made $50,000.
Plus
so don't get caught up in the comparison of people because until you know their profit.
Yeah. And plus if you made $100,000, but you had overhead plus taxes coming out, that was my mistake. For one, the first year I did not file on time because I didn't understand.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I didn't file on time, and then I got $1,700 charged, or they sent me a letter saying you owe 1,700. I'm like, 1,700, but I didn't make any money this year, and I just started like in September. This was and they said, well, the 1,700 is based on what we think you would have made. So then we do a comparison. Okay, we think you'd make this much, and then we took the taxes on that.
Oh, yeah. Then you need to file your return.
Yeah. So then I called them up and I said, but I didn't make it. I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to help you file it right here online.
Oh, good.
Boom, boom. They were really sweet about it here in Texas. So they helped us follow it online. And then they said, we're going to charge you a $50 penalty. And I was like, I was very happy.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as 1,700. But the point being is that I learned, for one, file on time, do the proper paperwork, but also how they came to the idea of what they charge if they didn't put it through. And this is how they did it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, another thing that's important to remember is, people are like, oh, I'll just extend, right? Extension is an extension of time to file, not to pay. Because if it was an extension time to pay, why would anyone pay it in April when they could pay in October?
That's true.
Right? So you have to guesstimate what you think you're going to owe. You still want to always, though, file that extension or file your return, because if you owe money, the payment, the penalty for failure to file is 10 times the penalty for failure to pay.
Oh my gosh.
So at a minimum, you want to send in an extension, but you just want to stay on top of it because it just causes more stress. And honestly, you're not going to have the information better in October than you are in April. Like, just spend the time, get it done. And if you do it along the way, you aren't missing stuff. And more importantly, you aren't missing deductions that are valid that you don't remember because it's in your email box, or you forgot it, or, it's like you want to take all the ones that are valid. And it's very easy to overlook them or miss them if you're just trying to do it at year end.
Yeah. Is it a good idea to perhaps also, Lisa, to put like a separate maybe account aside that you put what you think the
you
taxes
absolutely need one. So when I tell people to set up, you could still be a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, but you must keep things separate. So if the IRS comes to see you, you need to show them that you are running your business like a business. So you need a separate bank account. I have a separate bank account. All my income goes into there. Then I transfer it right into my regular checking account, but it all goes through, and then a separate credit card. And the nice thing about using the credit card or the debit card is then it's pretty easy not to miss expenses because it's all on, right? So you definitely want to keep everything separate. The other thing as an entrepreneur is you need to keep a receipt for everything. So I would say yes to the dress, say yes to the receipt, right? And so for my personal stuff, I don't keep it, but there is absolutely no excuse. I mean, you could take your phone out and you can use the Notes app to scan, or you could take a picture, or you need the receipt. So if they audit you, they don't want to see a credit card statement. They want the receipts. Okay. And it's not that hard. So I just keep a file folder in my drawer. And if it's just a 8.5 and 11 piece of paper, I put it in there. If it's a smaller piece of paper, like from a restaurant, I tape it to a piece of paper so that it keeps it easier in there. And then I write, lunch with Christina to discuss taxes.
Yeah.
So if it's not blatantly obvious, then it's easy because you're not going to remember.
Oh, heck no.
Right. And I'm like, come on, I can't remember yesterday. So then I keep it. And I mean, I'll admit I'm not perfect keeping my books up to date, but then like once a month you can, when you get your credit card, you can go in and you can enter it and then you're up to date and then you can see where you're at. So it just makes it so much easier if you just stay on top of it. And then you have that information to make decisions.
So also, let's say day one, you've gotten your business license, maybe DBA to start with, whatever. You have your business license. They give you EIN number, yes. And they say, okay, set up a separate bank account. Do you, you haven't made any money yet. You go set up a separate bank account because now you have a new entity, aka the business. Is that how it usually should go for business owners? Yeah. So you said, and because you don't want to mix your personal whatever, because then it gets all messy.
Because what happens is, let's say you do that and then they audit you and then will look through your personal bank account at all your deposits. Okay. And let's say grandma sent you a check for your birthday for $500. They'll be like, well, why isn't that income? Why isn't that income? They're like, how do they, and then they're questioning, right? Because here's the thing. If you just have a W-2 and you have a house or a mortgage, there's nothing to audit. Everything is reported to the government, right?
Yeah.
When you have your business, you can cheat, right?
Yeah.
It's people write off stuff. So it's very easy to take personal expenses and treat them as business expenses.
Yeah.
So if you are truly running a business, you set it up like a business. You have separate bank accounts, you keep your books up to date, you have a website, whatever it is, like you have to show them that this is a valid business. And then they'll be like, okay. I mean, that's people, they'd make inadvertent errors. Okay, fine. Yeah. What's the worst that happens? You pay some extra tax. It's not the end of the world, but they want people to have a shoebox that, well, my clients are like that because I train them, but like, but yeah, the best thing you can do for yourself is stay organized. And if you're not good at it, I would invest in a bookkeeper.
Yeah, it's so important. I think that one of the most important staff members to get started with is an accountant / bookkeeper.
Yes,
I could do the numbers. Like, no. I know it looks easy, but no, I've been working in accounting for 35 years. So I see the importance of working for a number of small businesses that it's the bottom of their list is the finance team.
And individuals too. Yeah, I mean, they just don't do it. And here's the thing, so one of the things that's unique is when you're a W-2 employee, they don't just take out federal and state taxes. They take Social Security and Medicare tax. And most people they're not even aware of it, right? Because they don't even look at the pay stub. But when you are self-employed, you pay twice that because you pay employer share and the employee share. Well, those two, plus you're with taxes, there's no withholding. So you have to pay that in during the year, right? So you need to know how much you're making, how much approximately your tax is going to be, so you could set that aside, and you have to pay that in every quarter.
He said we could go on for a lot longer. I know we could. You gave so much wonderful insights to our business owners, but I want them to find out how they can find out more about you, work with you. How could they do that?
Absolutely. So my website is just my name, www.lisaniser.com, and it's Niser with an S. And at the top of there is a newsletter kind of opt-in. And I do not send it out regularly because I don't listen to most people's regularly, but I send out when there's important tax updates. So I have that's a great way to do it. Also, on LinkedIn, I write about taxes all the time. So I'd love for you to reach out and connect or follow me there. Yes. And if you are interested in learning more about my class for new entrepreneurs, it's at www.takingontaxestogether.com. And if you go to my website and you forgot about it, down at the bottom, there's a link to it.
Oh, great.
Yes. And it's great because it includes a 40-minute video. So it covers form of business, record keeping, how income's reported, categories of expenses, things you think are deductible but aren't, home office, estimated taxes, self-employment tax, retirement options. And I did it that way because most people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so that way they could pause and replay and process it. And then once you've gotten through that, it also includes an hour consultation for me to answer your questions.
That's so wonderful.
Yes, because no one can listen to me talk about taxes for an hour. I can't listen to me talk about taxes for an hour.
So. I mean, taxes is probably my least favorite subject in the universe, probably.
I don't take it personally. I love my work, and people are like, you like it? I'm like, I do.
Well, I mean, it's with the essence of it. You love serving and helping people.
Right.
That's why
I like teaching them about taxes and money, because then they're less stressed and their lives are easier. I mean, that's pretty fulfilling.
Yes. And then now they're empowered. And there's so much of our society that's not empowered around money, and you're making a difference on that. And so I'm so grateful for you and that you're doing that. And in fact, I hired someone to do my taxes one year, and I was amazed at how much money I got back because she knew where to look, where I could pull in money that I didn't even know existed. So there's that opportunity, and the blessing of hiring someone means you could, make
it may very well more than pay for itself.
Exactly.
Plus, it lets you sleep at night a lot better.
Totally. Did I make a mistake? Are they going to audit me?
Right.
Well, Lisa Niser, thank you so much for coming today to Savvy Broadcasting to share your great wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.